Okay, here's a quick demonstration on how to set up Modbus RTU master on an OCS device. We go to Program, Protocol Config, select the port we want to work with, and pick the Modbus master protocol. Next we go to the network. We set the various settings that we need, 19.2, whatever the baud rate you need for your device. You have to refer to the documentation. Again, you also have to refer to the documentation. Is it RS-485, RS-232? And this multi-drop half or multi-drop full in RS-485 mode determines is it 4-wire or 2-wire. So multi-drop half is 2-wire. We'll leave all these settings in their defaults to start with, and the only thing I put in here is a status register of R1001. And notice it's 4 32-bit registers, so it's going to take up 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. So take up 1001, 1003, 1005, and 1007, and then say OK. Next, I'm going to set up a device. Okay, a device is the slave module you want to talk to, I/O, whatever. So now we would add a device. We give it a name. We're just going to call it device 1. You give it a Modbus RTU address or slave address. In this case, it's 1. Again, you're going to have to refer to the settings and documentation of the device you want to talk to. Modbus allows a lot of variation on how you do things. If you have 32-bit data, you may want to experiment with this, swap words on 32-bit data. 32-bit data would be like floating point stuff or whatever. If you're getting data but it seems wrong, click this button and I'll swap the order in which the words are read. By default, we'll leave it open. Never use this target returns 32-bit. That's for a special case and it probably shouldn't be in here. How we address the data can depend on your device. In general, we'll start with Modicon PLC 5-digit addressing, and for many devices this is the right way to go. Finally, we'll enable the status, and again we'll just pick a register and give status, and notice it's 2 times 16-bit. Alright, say OK. Okay, we've configured the device, we say OK. Now we do the scan list. The scan list is where we map device parameters to OCS registers. And it depends on the device exactly how you do this, but I'll show you very simply. First we'll say add, and we pick, if we have multiple devices, we pick the device we want. We pick the device register. The exact format of this addressing depends on what we chose before on the device type addressing. We chose this Modbus 5-digit addressing, so that's what we're going to use. So if we know the address of the we want to read, we type that in here. And again, you're going to have to refer to the drive or device documentation. So in some devices, let's say the speed feedback is in parameter 0303, we would use an address something like this. And this only applies to one type of device. We go 40303. Many devices, especially drives, adopt the idea where you take the parameter group and the parameter number and put a 4 in front of it. Again, it's going to vary from device to device. Length is 1. This 4 indicates it's a 16-bit register, and we're going to take one of them. Now, where do we want to place this in the OCS? In our case, we'll put it in R17, and we'll even give it a name. We'll say drive RPM. All right. How are we going to read that, or how are we going to update that information? We have a couple choices. We're going to do an update, a polled read. So that means it's going to go out as fast as it can and read the data from the drive. It'll read this address, 4303, and dump it into this address, R17. There's several other registers, and I would suggest you look at the help on how to use those other ones. But polled read and polled read write are the most common. So we'll say OK. Alright, that's all there is to the configuration of the device. You can now use R17 wherever you want in your logic or on a screen, and you can add more as you need. A couple things to look at are the help. I suggest you go to Network, Help, and hit Protocol Help. And you'll see a bunch of stuff from everything from different address formats to wiring diagrams and all that. Very useful. And the other thing would be to go over that, type into protocol support into the standard help menu. Well, that was a very quick configuration of Modbus Master on an OCS.